Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Courtney Grayton. I am a loctician, a natural hair stylist, salon owner, educator, and so much more. But over here on my side of YouTube, I provide information on caring for your locks. Let's just pretend we're in a consultation and you ask me what are the dangers of interlocking. This won't be super outlined and formal and all of that. But you all have been loving these shorter videos that just aren't drawn out, so let's get into it. Though I'm bringing this video to you, this is not me telling you not to do interlocking at all. I'm just giving you some things to consider. Now, I do have a video on my channel that I recorded a couple years ago that is kind of like a interlocking 101 video. It's very in-depth, so if you are unfamiliar with interlocking in general, I would definitely watch that video first and then come back to this one where I'm going to be giving very specific dangers of interlocking. Bro, I mean, like, I know he's not doing it on purpose, but he's literally, my cat is sneezing above my head and it's not coming down. Anyway, yeah, so if you have sister locks, interlocks, or even micro locks and you got them with the intention of interlocking, I would definitely go ahead and do that. There are some things to consider, and I will actually say, if you watch this video and your loctician can't tell you any of these dangers themselves, I would say go to someone else, because interlocking is such a delicate method of maintaining hair that you pretty much need to really know the dangers of it and the risk of it as a loctician to be able to notice when interlocking is not doing what it's intended to do, when it's actually making the locks weaker or whatever the case may be. So if the person can't tell you what the dangers are, they probably wouldn't even be able to tell you, okay, let's stop interlocking because this, and this. So I'm gonna just give that disclaimer, okay? Check your people. I've been fixing a whole lot of interlocks recently, which is cool because I know how to do it, but I've been fixing a lot of them. If you have type 4 hair like me, interlocking a lot of times can cause breakage. I remember when I had my first set of locks, I interlocked, I think, twice and hated it, and told myself with this set of locks, I will never interlock my hair. Again, this is not me telling you not to do it, but I'm going to give you reasons why. So because my hair is very prone to breakage because the coils are so tight, interlocking sometimes can just be a little too rough. Even a loctician with the gentlest hands, and I say that I have very gentle hands. My clients can say that. If any clients are watching this, go ahead and let people know below that I do have very gentle hands, but even with the most gentle hands, interlocking can just be tight. With anything that is tight over time, doing it constantly over and over can lead to breakage. So I would definitely use caution with doing it. In the video that I mentioned before, I definitely mentioned that some people choose to flip-flop back and forth between interlocking and palm roll, which is perfectly fine. And I also detail pros and cons to that in that video. Go watch it. If you are interlocking over and over and over and not catching any small breakage here and there, you may find yourself months down the line like, whoa, what did I do? I noticed that I had a lot of short and small pieces all over, which I feel like was due to different reasons. But interlocking, I've seen interlocking do that to people's hair, cause a lot of breakage where you have these shorter pieces all over. Another thing that interlocking can do, if the person is not doing it correctly, it can leave holes in your locks. And that's pretty much a lot of what I've been fixing recently. You definitely have to do it in a certain way where you're closing any holes or any gaps with every rotation. And there's a specific way to do it. The way that I do it, the way that I was trained to do it, is that you are closing that gap with every rotation. So there's literally no possible way that you will have holes. Holes make your lock weak. I mean, our locks are supposed to be solid through and through. So just imagine I had gaping holes within these locks. They would naturally be weak, prone to getting caught on things and just popping, you know. So you definitely want someone who's doing it correctly and not being lazy, because if someone's just going, trying to finish your hair fast, because interlocking is a time-consuming method, some people who don't really care will just zoom, and leave holes all through your locks. So that's another danger of interlocking. Another thing is that because it is pulling your hair so tight, and I guess this goes with the breakage. Imagine your root is so tight because it's interlocked. Not all interlocking is very tight, but you're naturally going to have some. And then you're just over time moving it, whether you're putting in a ponytail or whatever, this spot right here where it's tight and then this part is loose is always just going to be weaker because you are kind of like bending the lock right there at that point while that part is held in place. I hope that makes sense, y'all. Another possible danger with interlocking is creating thinner locks. Because you are maintaining the hair and pulling it tight, closing those gaps every single time, your lock is getting smaller and smaller. So when you look at sister locks, when you look at micro locks, they are kept small because they are interlocked. So if you are someone who wants fluffier locks, thicker locks, locks that expand, mine just came out of a style, so they are a little kind of constricted, but locks that expand, you might want to skip the interlocking because it'll definitely keep your locks slim. And I always just say, look at sister locks. They are interlocked and they are made to be very skinny. Obviously, your parts are bigger, so your locks would just naturally be bigger than a sister lock, but it creates that very uniform sort of yarn look almost, where it's just like one solid lock all the way down. If that's not the look that you are looking for, definitely don't do it, okay? Because it does not allow the lock to expand as water hits it. It will expand a little bit, but the actual method of interlocking is really holding it in place and doesn't give your lock enough space to expand over time. So even if I started interlocking from here, the ends of my lock would be this thick, and then slowly but surely all the new growth that comes in as I interlock it, my lock will be skinny and skinny and skinny and skinny. I've had so many people go years interlocking their hair and then come to me and it's like, no, I want thick locks back. And it's like, you really have to allow the new growth to grow in and start palm rolling so that you can have locks that expand with water. Eventually, you'll have the skinnier locks at the end, and you can decide if you want to like cut them off and stuff like that. That's a whole nother thing. But interlocking does keep the lock constricted and small. A lot of foreign places I've found, like Jamaica, like West Africa, a lot of them pretty much resort to interlocking. I can imagine it's because in those hotter, humid areas, people may be sweating more, and so they just resort to that method because it really does keep the maintenance held for longer. I don't think a lot of people realize that there are other options and that interlocking actually can do more damage sometimes. A lot of times, locks that are interlocked are a little less flexible. While they are movable, because they're not able to expand with water, they're a little more hard, more solid up front because you're pretty much forcing it into that pattern. Whereas like with palm roll, you are just more so suggesting where the hair will go, because once water touches it and all of that, the hair will expand and do its own thing. But as you're palm rolling, you're pretty much suggesting it to go in that direction, whereas like with interlocking, you're putting the hair where it needs to go or where you want it to go down the line. So I hope that makes sense. I can't really think of any other ones. I've noticed that most of the locks that are being requested these days, based on what's going viral, what the trends are with locks and all of that, most of us really do want locks that are thick, that have character, that, stand up and are light. And interlocking a lot of the times does not allow too much for that. If you are getting something like micro locks and the actual majority of your hair is loose and will be, locking naturally, traditionally, and you're just getting the roots interlocked, as you will have more fluffier locks because actually the majority of the strands are loose and locking naturally. But definitely as the roots grow in, all of the hair that is interlocked is less flexible, and it also is very skinny. I don't even know how else to say it. Sometimes it's hard without my outlines, but I think, this should help to make it plain for you all and feel like you're just chatting with me on a little Zoom call or FaceTime, where I'm just very basically explaining these things, especially since I don't have like a mannequin or a person right here to show you. Let me know if you have any other questions as far as interlocking. If I can think of any more, you know, I'll definitely drop them in the comment section. And if you have any experiences that you've had with interlocking, whether good or bad, definitely drop them below so that other people can learn from you and so that we can all share. Please be respectful. And as always, thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.